It's a sound. Come on. No.
We can meditate without music.
We are going into a meditation pre-show, 2 minutes, and we're trying to find the share audio button. I think it's working now. Okay. Now close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Have you ever felt lonely, especially when you feel you're not seen, understood, or appreciated by others?
Have you ever felt lonely, especially when you don't feel you belong, or if you're not alone, even if you're surrounded by others?
That's why we're together, here and now, to co-create, redesign for the vision of less loneliness in the world. Are you ready?
Are you ready to reimagine things, not just being objects, but also allies that can help us feel less lonely, either when we are actually alone or even when we're with others?
And in this process of co-creation, are you ready to express and share authentically about yourself? Let go of unnecessary control. Help us experience you as the real you. Well, it's the real you whom we want to see, understand, and appreciate. So be you and no rush. And thank you for being part of this collective creation. Thank you for being part of a collective flow.
We aim to converse, create, and compete. Meanwhile, we will be flowing freely without rushing or judging anyone.
May the spirit of creative freedom and authenticity be with you. Now, please open your eyes. Welcome everyone to Not Just a Thing, a special slot machine game that generates 1 crisis, 2 things, 3 constraints to hack your daily habits, hosted by Mickey and Ting. Today, while Mickey is enjoying his Sunday morning coffee, Corey, our game master, is our special co-host today, joined by our 3 very special guests.
Whether it's a table, a coffee mug, or a roll of toilet paper, today we're going to redesign these things around us because tech and behavioral science can be our allies of a more meaningful life.
So our guests today are Joey, Neta, and Itai. Before we start the game, can you, in 1 sentence, share about yourself with us?
Hey everybody, I am a British person living in the US, trying to think about new ideas and stay sane.
Neta? Unmute.
Sorry. Hi, my name's Neta, and I'm a freshman at Durham Academy.
Hi, my name's Itai. I am attempting to move design towards more human-friendly and living-friendly methodologies and ways of thinking.
Great. And Ting, I can give a sentence about myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, so I'm a sophomore at Brown University. I'm currently on leave, and I'm really interested in behavioral science and behavioral economics. Yeah, and as well as writing and math. So this is really a great place to to think about that for people who aren't necessarily as interested in that.
Today's theme is about quality of connection. And we have explored already 2 episodes about how oftentimes when we're being alone, we actually might not necessarily feel lonely. And on the other hand, when we are being with others, we might actually feel lonely. So what is it with loneliness that we can connect deeply with others, maybe even without being physically together? So I know that Corey prepared a quiz for us.
Yes, I actually want to ask you guys what you guys think the range of close friends or people with a range of close friends reported the highest levels of happiness. So someone with 1 to 2 close friends, 3 to 5, or as many as 11 to 15. Which group of people do you think are saying that the happiest? Neta, what do you have a guess?
I think probably B.
B. And why do you think that?
It just seems like the right amount. So you know.
Well, Neta, you are the genius of this group, clearly, because it is 3 to 5. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think part of this thing is, when you have more close friends, they necessarily have to be less close to you. Like when you're trying to balance more relationships, it's harder to continually keep up with them and be with people and have them really be checking in with you. So it makes sense to me that these people are gonna feel happier and more connected.
So did you have the same guesses, Itai and Joey? Did this surprise you?
I did. I chose the same, but you're never going to know.
So question, do you feel like you have more close friends or less, or about that for your own personal life?
I don't know how to define close friend, I guess. I think that's like something that I'm not sure about because, for example, yesterday I had an amazing conversation with kind of like soulmate in LA that we've met in person, 5 times. But when I want to speak to someone or want to, get someone who knows my soul, I go to her, but, I don't see her very often. So close friends can mean many things, at least.
Right. Yeah. Itai, it's interesting you point out this, right? What does it really mean? And does it mean that we'll be regularly seeing each other? In fact, there's a stats, 2 studies run both in US and UK showing that loneliness during the pandemic has leveled up. In fact, if anything, has actually decreased instead of increased. And that's somewhat counterintuitive and shocking because you would assume that a lot of us are not seeing people during this prolonged social isolation. And so the number of people we see, the number of interactions drastically decrease. But why don't we actually feel more lonely?
Can I have a stab at that?
Yeah, please.
So, we experienced a lot less FOMO in the pandemic. One of the things about loneliness is that we see it's relative to what we see around us. So many people can feel very lonely in a very crowded place because it's relative to what they're seeing and how others are connecting. And in the pandemic, even those of us who might have less friends, somehow the reference point that we're using is shifting because everyone is seeing less people. So I think it's also a matter of what's going on around you, whether you feel lonely or not, or whether you perceive yourself as lonely or not.
Yeah. And in order to dive deeper into the essence of, togetherness and connectedness, could you share actually a personal experience during the pandemic or before when you had a deeply connected, meaningful interaction?
Okay.
We can, yes, I'd love for each of you to all share whenever you're ready. If you're ready, just share. Joey.
Question again? Well, I'll do it after Joey.
I was going to say, so I think the question is, when did you have a meaningful social interaction pre or during pandemic? For me, one of the things that has really changed, so I think I've struggled to have meaningful interactions in the Zoom world, whatever it is about the social norms or the expectations or the making time for it. I feel like I spend my life on Zoom but don't really get a lot out of it. One of the things that changed for me reasonably recently is that we moved to a house that had a back garden, so we could have people come over for like a fire outside in a distanced way. And I found that has enabled me to have more meaningful interactions with people. And it's something I don't fully understand why, but it's like, rather than sitting or standing in my office talking to someone, I can sit out in the field and chat around a fire, which makes a big difference.
Great. And for you, does it the physical togetherness, is it required? Is it a necessary condition for that?
I think on my current expectations, it seems to be. That's an observation rather than it should be like this.
Okay.
So maybe this is something that I could try and change.
And yeah, I also have a question. So do you think, like, if you had people over for that kind of, social event before the pandemic, like for me at least, those experiences, even just having like one night of that, I definitely put more meaning into it, and I put more effort into speaking to people when I'm there. Do you feel that? Like, what is your experience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's almost an element of you're so primed for social interaction that then you're like a kid in a sweet shop and someone comes over to hang out for a fire and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I definitely have experienced that. And so I've attended more closely, been more present, looked forward to it, prepared more for it, all those sorts of things.
Great. Itai, about you?
Well, I mean, Ting, you know me a little bit. I'm kind of allergic to non-meaningful experiences. So I'm not sure there's, there's been a lot, but I'm not sure what I can say about my personal experience in the pandemic, apart from, I think there is something about the fact that we are all experiencing something similar, that we're all part of the same narrative, which is to many people a new thing in their lives. And I think that can bring down barriers in the interactions between people, even between strangers. And I live in Tel Aviv, where there's almost kind of no social barriers between strangers in the street. Someone could just turn around to you and whilst you're waiting to cross the street and ask you, where did you adopt the dog? Where did you buy this T-shirt? They might point at something in the street and say, like, look at that, that's weird. That kind of informality, or this less barriers between people is partly, I think, driven by a feeling of being in it together. Some cities have it, some cities have it less. But I obviously I stayed in Tel Aviv in the pandemic, but I wonder, in cities where there is less social cohesion, did the pandemic create some kind of universal experience that allowed people to connect on a deeper level, or at least initiate connections?
So for you personally, that shared experience is one of the key factors for feeling connected. Either you share, like you have the same dog, you like the dog together, right?
Yeah,
and it can be with stranger, doesn't need to be someone you know well. Awesome.
I don't think so too. I think sometimes resonating with someone that you don't know can be also a really powerful thing, sometimes more powerful.
Serendipity, right? Yeah. Great. Cool. Neta, do you have a personal experience to share when you had?
Yeah, I think so. In March, when the pandemic first came, our teachers, they gave us like 10 hours, 11 hours of work to do a day. So there wasn't that much time for socializing. But then again, we all had to do it, and it was all hard for all of us. And then I guess, yeah, that shared experience. And then also this year I moved to a new school and we're doing like a hybrid model. So I have gotten to meet some new people. And I think that's just really interesting and fun to, meet new
Yeah.
people amidst all this chaos and all of that stuff.
Right. If you can pinpoint sort of the moment when you feel connected with someone, what is usually special about that experience? And is there one experience that you say, oh, that was when we were having tea together, or what is there something concrete you can pinpoint to?
I guess it's when you've spent a lot of time with people and you've gotten beyond that small talk awkward phase of being relatively new, and then having fun while also able to talk like beyond stuff. Oh yeah, that thing.
So no small talk, and Neta, that's actually based on a scientific finding, right, from 1990s, where no small talk questions actually bond people, faster and better than small talk. So that's great element. So let's keep these elements in mind. We're gonna now show you the slot machine and see what things we'll draw for our creation today. So let's.
Yeah, great. And it's important to point out that this is a very special episode. Instead of using IoT and technology, I've got my wand. I put a spell on it so it looks like pencils and duct tape. But this theme for today is going to be Harry Potter, and very loosely Harry Potter. I would say it's more magic in general, but we can enchant our objects. And so when redesigning the things, we can go beyond typical boundaries of technology because we have our wands and we can put any spell on it that we want.
I love that.
Right.
So we have chosen a nightstand as a bonus object for you, but each of you will review a number.
And
so
then
let us know.
That will choose a new thing. So yeah, what's the number, Joey?
Number 12.
12. Post-it note. Interesting. I've never gotten that. What about Itai?
I'll go for 17, please.
All right.
Oh, I feel like in a real game show. It's like the Wheel of Fortune.
Except you won a wall. I don't know if I want to win that in real life. And Neta, what's your number?
I'll go number 3.
3. All right. So among these 4 objects, when we actually redesign, you can choose 2 of the things and redesign those together. Great.
So think about your 2 things. Okay. With the 3 constraints, we're actually going to use the random generator. 9.
All right.
Let's see what is.
Wow. I think you got maxed out magic stats. You are Dumbledore, so you are the greatest spellmaster or wizard. This is 20 years in the future, so there's more, newer objects, more technology in general. So you really don't have a lot of limits this game. And then that question mark is because we are going to get a little bit more context from one of you as the constraint for this loneliness issue and for connecting with people, especially during this upcoming Thanksgiving. So Ting, do you want to go?
Yes, I'm going to send Corey a number, and you each will pick a number in your mind between 0 to 10. Not in my mind. Share that. And the one closest to my number will be our target user today. So you just pick a number and share. And meanwhile, I'm texting Corey my secret number.
All right.
Itai, what's your?
I'll pick 4, please.
4. Joey?
I'll go 2.
Neta? You're muted, by the way.
I'll go 3.
2, 3, 4. Neta, you were safe from every number but 3 itself, and the number was 5.
So Itai, we will be designing for you. You're the closest. Okay. So you have now 3 minutes to.
Did we get a little bit more about the constraint, Ting?
Oh yes. Itai, what's where? We're wanting to know a little bit of your social context. With how many people do you live?
With 1.
Okay.
Great.
So we'll take that into account. There's one more
But I also
human.
live with a cat and a dog.
Oh, you do?
So
Okay.
you are people, but I live with 3 beings.
Yeah, you live with 3 beings. That's important. Cats and dogs are as important as humans.
And just like a quick, 1-2 sentence answer. What would you say is the biggest thing that you have been trying to work on to feel more connected to people, or what's something that you wish you could do to feel more connected to people?
Work less.
Say work less. Okay.
Work less.
And
Okay.
have more time. Great.
So Itai wishes to work less and have more serendipitous connections with strangers. So we might have to connect you virtually.
Yeah, I have more. I have more of an issue keeping in touch with all my friends.
Okay. Also keeping in touch with
new ones. I'd rather,
Oh, okay. You would rather stick with the older friends. Yes.
No, I mean, I don't hate new people, but I want to be able to keep up my meaningful relationships.
Absolutely. Just reinforce the 3 to 5 close friends. You have already, and maybe turn more into that.
3 to 5.
Whatever that magic number is.
I'm not that popular, Ting.
Okay. that one friend. Make sure that you get at least in touch with that one friend. Work less. Okay. Wonderful. We'll start the timer now. Go ahead and find your mirror, post it.
Great. And redesign those things.
Ting, do I do something, or am I just like a patient here?
Oh, you have your mural board open? You have to put in your idea in that, and Corey is starting the timer. So
I'm like solving my own issues here.
Yes, indeed. You also redesign your yes.
Cool.
I started typing. Was that the wrong thing to do? Should I wait for that?
No, you're like on it now. Yes, the timer is starting. It's just not showing up.
Oh yeah.
Neta, do you find your sticker? You posted?
I'm trying to log onto the Miro board.
You can also type your idea on the private chat and we can paste it into it in case you cannot find it.
We got about 1 minute.
Eight seconds left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow, Neta, just in time. That's awesome. Corey will help paste the idea. So now spend 30 seconds, quickly read each other's idea, and then nominate an idea to be shared. So you can pick somebody else's idea, and that someone will share upon your calling. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit for people to see. If you put your mouse off the sticker post-it, we will see the post-it better. Joey, can you unclick your post-it?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So, Itai, are you ready to nominate someone? Whose idea you like more?
Okay. I'll nominate Neta.
Neta, go ahead and share your idea.
Well, I think Joey's is better, but
Don't be humble.
but there's like a mug with every one of his friends' names in it. So then he draws it, and then there's like this pack of sticky notes that you can write messages. If you write it down, it automatically goes to the other person. And it's sometimes when you're like really stressed out, you're not motivated to keep in touch. This is a way to make sure you do.
I like that. I'm always with a mug as well, so it completely makes sense, especially at work.
So now Neta has nominated Joey. Joey, let's share your idea.
Okay, I think that one's really good. I think I would use that. My one is probably unrealistic. So my one is that Itai has a wall in his house. It's like a feature wall, and this wall is made up with all of these different bricks, which are sort of different colors and textures. And each one of these bricks represents one of Itai's close friends. And so in the corner of each brick has a little name, and that brick sort of represents their personality in some way. And so each night while Itai sleeps, Dumbledore rearranges these bricks, and so they have this sort of, the ones that come up near the top are the ones which represent the friends who need the most support in that moment. And when one of his friends is really in need, a post-it note emerges onto that brick with a sort of a call to action to Itai to say, hey, ring your friend in LA. They're feeling down because their dog ran away, for example. Yeah, that'll be it.
I love that. The classic friendus brickus spell. That reminds me actually of one from last week that we had about this wallpaper that shows people's faces, their friends' faces that begin to contort basically as you don't reach out to them the more time you spend without talking to them. But I like that because it's like a very different message, I guess, when it's people who need to talk to you most versus who you need to talk to most. And I think both of them are gonna help you feel less lonely. And I also think it's interesting having the bricks move. It feels a lot more physical than like a screen. Yeah. And
Nice. Thank you, guys. Can I order them from you?
Kickstarter.
yeah, let me send it over.
Itai,
Yeah.
your own idea.
My own idea. Okay, yeah. I was like thinking of the post-its in the wall, and I thought of like, instead of like the Wailing Wall where you put post-its in, actually just the post-its fly out of the wall at you. And like originally I thought that it tells you which friend is like, you know, available for adventure, or, you know, if Joey, I like Joey's idea, also needs help. But then I also thought about the fact that it's lacking serendipity. So maybe it doesn't need to tell me which friend, and that will, you know, make me curious to contact all of them, maybe.
Right. And I wonder if there's any barrier of being kind of caught by surprise and then not knowing what to say. Like
No.
No, never.
No.
I was just gonna say, well, maybe we can get some cards, you know, of like from questions.
I can say yes for the sake of the game, if you like.
Okay.
Well, I also like about that because it kind of has this idea of variable rewards. You know, you're unlike the brick wall where the bricks are always there. Like you're getting these sticky notes at a random time. You don't even know who the person is, so you're continuing to wonder about it. Like I think of my text messages, and some people turn their I guess message off, meaning that you just get a notification that says new iMessage. And it makes people really anxious, and I don't think that's necessarily a positive variable reward, but in that case, it is going to end with a meaningful connection. So, and I think it will be very, very motivating.
Well done, everyone. And we have 12 minutes left, so which means that we'll have a second round, second chance to come up with another idea. But before that, we're gonna do a bit of a scientific approach. So here's what we're gonna get you to decide and make a scientific diagnosis of what's the biggest underlying barrier of Itai. So as you know, he wants to have a higher frequency of this quality connection. And so there's this possible barriers of, you know, not knowing better, not a priority, or it's not yet a new norm, so it's against the current, you know, old normal. And whether he's, you know, willing to sort of be the trendsetter, lacking self-control, it's hard to change a habit. So Joey and Neta, you get 2 minutes to poke Itai's underlying potential barriers. And we're gonna review some scientific tactics to corresponding to whatever the biggest barrier is for you to add to your solution. So you have 2 minutes, and the timer will start now.
So we just ask him questions?
And then decide between you and Joey what the ABCD, which barrier is the biggest barrier.
How many of your friends talk to each other, do you estimate? How common is it in your social network for people to call each other up in this more digital world?
Much more common than me participating in it.
How important are friendships to you and your mental health?
How important are they?
Yeah.
Did you ask? Very important. The most important.
What triggers you to reach out to someone? What would be, what would be some trigger things?
Want to share something with them. Want to see how they're doing. Want to hatch up a plan for an adventure.
When you work, how often or do you ever get so swept up in what you're doing you forget to do other things like eat or take care of yourself and stuff like that?
Wow, Ting, did you give them tips?
Oh, I'm very impressed. I think the
All the
labs should hire
time.
Neta as well.
I have a issue with I don't know if it's an issue, but I hyper focus a lot, meaning that like I will just continue to work when I'm in something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, the two of you might want to
How often do you reach out to your friends right now versus when we weren't in quarantine?
The same.
Same.
Yeah.
Do we
All right.
need to discuss before the end?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do
Oh,
you think?
it's okay. It's okay. You can
What do you
ask
think,
one more
Neta?
question if you want.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, time is up. So you do have to decide based on the question you have asked. But they're amazing.
So
Well
I
done.
think so. Neta asked a question that inched at priority and importance, and I think we got a pretty strong message that this wasn't a barrier. I asked a question about the perception of the social norm, and it seems like Itai thinks that other people in his social network are all speaking to each other a lot, which suggests that it's not like a social norm issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think Neta's question about getting lost in the experience points to maybe a self-control issue.
Yeah, I don't think it would be the not a priority one. I think he ranked it very high. I think it would either be C or D. I think it would be D because it's not unpleasant to do, because friendships are important to him, and if he hyper focuses, it's not part of his routine, or he spends so much time on work.
I think that's a very good point, Neta.
Do we have to narrow to one, or can we do two? Where do you want us to get to?
You have to narrow to one.
I think I would be happy to go with D. I think that's a strong argument.
Okay. So we will keep it at D. And now you have some tactics that you can that we can help you, Itai, to form a new habit of
Sweet.
connecting more.
Thank you.
And so these three tactics are, so first, consistent and stable cue. So when, for example, when you piggyback onto an old habit like coffee drinking, because it's so consistent and stable, you always remember to do. If you try to set yourself to say, if I drink coffee or after I drink coffee, then I'll do X for that new habit, it's much more easy. It's much easier to remember. The second is the concept of piggybacking on an existing habit. And then the third is immediate and variable rewards. So there's something that's called also a reward substitution of doing the right behavior for the wrong reason. What kind of snack do you like?
All of them.
all of the unhealthy one.
All of them.
All of snacking. So let's say you would only snack when you're connecting with your friends, right? So then not only you would get this very intangible sort of far away reward of reinforcing your friendship, but also the snacking itself gives you sort of that signal and more visible and tangible rewards right after that you do that behavior. And if you do it every time, it's a little bit like training our automatic part of our brain to kind of crave for that. So for the next round of 3 minutes, each of you will feel free to pick any of these three, or even if you want to use two of the kind of concepts, principles, just make sure that you take these into account and the core barrier into account, either come up with a new idea or modify, augment the previous idea. So now go to your mirror, and Neta, feel free to type in your idea, and we will start.
Do we use the same objects, or we choose objects again?
You can use the same object, or you can use a new one. Up to you. And be quick.
And remember that anyone in the audience can put any idea in the chat, and we will share it, as long as it's, not terrible. We've only gotten great ideas so far, so I would feel free to, comment your ideas.
Any idea is a great idea. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Great.
30 seconds. Read each other's idea. I'm gonna nominate.
My thing's in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Moving over now. Itai, are you cheating?
No.
Okay.
This is me. Just trying to explain it.
Got it. Okay.
Explain to me how I can cheat.
No, Corey was typing in your post-it. I thought it was you. So
Spaces.
we're gonna start. Neta, you're gonna nominate first.
I'll nominate Joey again.
Okay, so my idea, actually, I realized it was a wall, not a brick. I think I misremembered. So my object is a brick. Sorry about that. And it's called, it was supposed to say the brick of routine. But I think I misspoke.
The
and
bug.
now it's the bug of routine. So we'll just go with bug of routine. Why not? So it's two scientific tactics. One are variable rewards, and the other is existing habits. So the idea is that each morning Itai wakes up and he says he's never without a mug in his hand. So he's got his mug. He makes his favorite coffee, sits in his favorite sunspot. So he develops this routine each morning, and he brings out his red brick, which comes from Dumbledore's wall. He's picked, and his brick is on the wall. So he brings that out, sits with it in his sunspot, and the brick at random connects to one of his friends. And he doesn't know which one it's going to be. Each morning it's a different friend. And they speak, and the brick glows, and it gets stays glowing for 11 minutes. And at the end of 11 minutes, it makes a noise. You have 10 seconds, and then it shuts off, and then they can both go about their day. And this happens each morning.
Nice.
Wow.
In the 90s, phones used to be the size of bricks.
Exactly.
So Joey, you can nominate another idea.
I'll nominate Itai.
Yeah, so I gave some character to a mug, and the mug is kind of dramatic. So when it's like when I'm too focused in work, then it kind of can bring me out by doing something dramatic, like smashing itself on the wall or whatever. And then basically rewards. I don't know if it's actually reward or punish, but I guess like you could think of it both ways. But the reward that the taste, the aftertaste of what I drink from the mug is either grossy if I'm a bad friend, or tasty if I acted on the habit change.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, we have an audience idea that's kind of similar. One a mug where it changes flavor to something sour, or a range of flavors that bring Itai out of his fixation when it begins to become unhealthy. So thank you, Grace. That's Itai, how do you like that?
Out of his fixation when it becomes, yes, wonderful. I can't wait to have a bad taste in my mouth every now and again to punish me. Thanks, Grace.
So now, Itai, what idea?
Well, we'll go for now. We haven't
We're
heard
going
Neta's.
Neftas. Neta, go ahead.
And explain my idea or nominate?
Yes, your idea.
So basically, Itai says he consistently drinks water. So, or not water, whatever substance or liquid you choose. And or it could be wine. Could be wine. I'm not judging. But
You are.
No comment. No comment. It's water. It's always water.
every like hour or so, when he drinks, he like sees a name pop up, and Dumbledore sort of like use his subconscious in a way, so that first of all he can better get an understanding of who Itai needs to reach out to based on who he hasn't talked to in a while, or who he wants to reach out to the most, and then also helps de-stress him for those few minutes so he can focus on his friend better. So that way he consistently reaches out and can reach out while not feeling the pressures of other things for a few minutes.
Great.
I like it. I like that. I also like in Joey's one, there's something about kind of both ideas of like the lack of choice. I think choice is like sometimes, you know, we think choice is amazing. We should have a choice to do everything. But I think also when you are in a place where you, for example, can't work or can't use your phone or don't have the choices that you usually have, it allows for like a different way of behaving. So I kind of like this thing of like, you know, maybe in Joey's, I in order for me to like start my day or leave the room, I need to sit and talk to a brick for 11 minutes. And also I don't really get to choose who I speak to, because that choice is also something that can bring about like anxiety, right, for people. Am I in touch enough with the right person? Who should I be calling? Oh, I feel bad for not calling that person, and so on. So it's a kind of like if you go into create something that takes away some of that, I guess, freedom or choice in a way, and hands over serendipity, I think that would be great.
So we're approaching the end of our episode. Thank you so much for being here with your full presence and being so authentic and also so free in your creativity. We love to ask you whether there's any takeaway, like is any immediate action that you might do in your life now, given this session. And feel free to share if you have. If not, also feel free to share with us in next time. Joey?
I have a quick one. So I have in a few weeks' time, I have a couple of weeks holiday, and one of my problems with connection is that lots of my friends who live in the UK, by the time I finish work during the week, it's like 10 p.m. or like 11 p.m. for them, and so there's like a real if I don't call people typically during the workday, and I try and use my mornings to be productive, which means it's really hard. I only have the weekends to call people, and I'm tired and I don't do it. So there's this like just barrier around time. So I'm actually going to, on my time off, my holiday time, I'm going to steal this brick idea, and I'm going to wake up and call people in my morning, because I'm not going to have the stress of like, hey, needing to start work. And for them, it'll be lunchtime, or if I wait till my lunchtime, it'll be after work. And I'm going to do the bug of routine.
The bug, yes.
The bug of routine.
The bug of routine. Awesome. Thank you, Joey.
I can say two things. The first thing is I learned that I need to check if I'm walking into a game show that talks about my issues. That's the first thing. The second thing I learned is the second thing I learned is that this thing of putting time aside in advance to say this is a time, not necessarily that you speak to a specific person, but that like in a way this is your time with the brick. And that's something that like I kind of learned to do every now and again, but I think when it comes to this like using it as time to connect with people you don't usually connect with, it could be really effective.
Wonderful. And I love your first idea as well. Great implication. Neta?
Well, I'm a lot younger, so I don't have the like problems of work, that solitary mindset, that kind of thing. But I'm at a new school this year, and that's obviously harder because of COVID, because you don't get to like connect with people that much and everything like that. But I think I just need to work on kind of taking in the social aspects of school, because obviously there are a lot of them, and especially when I'm online, it's hard to, remember that's there. So I think just focusing on that a little bit more.
Yeah, and maybe have your coffee mug with water to help you.
That too.
Okay, thank you so much. Please stay on. We'll be coming back to you. We'll just say goodbye to our audience for now. Okay. Hi.
All right.
Oh, wow. I love having these guests who are so authentic and so fun to have. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, Corey, I think we have cover some more solutions about how to not feel lonely while being alone. And I'm very grateful to Katya also for illustrating ideas and feeling very grateful
Yeah, and we weren't able to show any drawings this time, but if you come to our normal show on Fridays, we'll have these great drawings of the previous best ideas. So watch out for that. And wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate that. We won't have a show this Friday, but we'll be coming back next week.
We also really appreciate your spending time with us today. And as you know, this show is really for you. So do let us know what interests you and what we can improve on. We have an email address that you can send email to or submit your ideas to be considered the special prize for Katya to illustrate your idea and give it to you. But we're also gonna give out a special prize this week of No Small Talk card. So if you win the idea, if your idea win.
Yeah. And so Ting, this is our last episode about loneliness. So we're moving on to the next theme. Is there anything else that you want to say about the theme or talk about before we move on?
Corey, I feel like we haven't really finished the topic of loneliness because, as you know, connection with ourselves can be so important to allow us to share vulnerably with others, to feel that we can accept and see and understand and appreciate ourselves. So there's also this notion of unconditional love that we can give ourselves or others. And so I'd love to see if we can explore that in our next episode about how we can be our own best friend, even if we're the only ones left on this planet. Maybe for some people you can't stand it, but is there a scenario that you will not feel lonely even when you're not with other people at all and you're the only human left on this planet? Can it actually still be meaningful life? So we look forward to discovering and exploring that in our next episode.
Great. That sounds great. All right. Again, submit an idea by Sunday if you have it. Thank you guys so much. This is fun.